Hey, 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 we are live today and we are with Jane Rappin. Hi, Jane. And we
Hi.
are on soul to soul conversations because what we are doing is making a soul assistance, soul intervention, all that kind of stuff normal. It's the new normal. It's the way to run your business. It's the way to run your life. So we're just going to drop into some conversations and tell about all the kind of things and the magic and the inspirations that we get and how we've created things, and just show you how much fun it is when you allow all of that to take part. But Jane, first of all, give us a little introduction about where you live, what you do, and what makes you do what you do.
Okay, so my name's Jane. I live near Manchester, kind of in between Manchester and Liverpool in the UK. It's raining at the minute, which is what it does pretty much most of the time. I'm a lawyer, I'm a business coach, and I'm totally blown away by working with my soul purpose, by just doing what I'm here to do. And that's why we're having a conversation today, basically to kind of talk about our journeys, how we found ourselves here, what stopped us from following it early on in life, and why now is so important. I think that's kind of the rough gist of what we're going to chat about, and loads of other random stuff that might crop up.
Yeah, all sorts of things might crop up because we're just like, oh, that'd be a good idea. Talk about that. We talked a little while ago, and I was really interested because we've both come from, well, we've been educated and in the line of kind of climbing up the success ladder, the career ladder, and then boom, things happen and you're kind of thrown a curveball and things go off a different way. So you mentioned already that, you're just loving that you are following your life purpose. So how did that happen for you? Was there a time? Was there an instance? Did you always know it? How did that happen for you?
I think if I were to stop and actually ask that question, I know that I would know I'd always known. And when I look back, everything I've ever done, there's been that constant thread, that one thing that I was always just quietly good at without realising it was a real thing. And I've been having conversations this week with a couple of different people where a memory has come back and I've thought, bloody hell, yeah, there's another clue. But you tend, well, I mean, when we grew up, I don't know what age you are, but if you're around my age, we grew up in a time where you either became a wife and a mother, a teacher, or you went into a profession like law or accounting. And it was like, where do I end up? And although I've kind of taken a very circuitous route, what always dragged me back to, what always dragged me back to what's expected of me was this: there are rules and we need to follow those rules, irrespective of what that inner voice is saying. So the inner voice just kept kind of cropping up. It was like a little snake weaving its way through, going, hello.
There's a question I want to ask you then. So often people don't realise that they've got an inner voice. And sometimes we do have inner conversations with ourselves, and we don't really want to tell everybody that we do that. Some people, of course, don't have an inner voice, but maybe you do. So how does your inner voice come to you? How does it sound to you? Because we also talk about the critical inner voice, but then there is an inner voice that's just, it has a different way of weaving itself through, like you said. So how does yours come through to you?
For me, there are multiple voices. So there's the voice that I hear through other people that I see, or beings that I see that are not necessarily, they're not like you and I, they're not here in a 3D existence. Then there's a quiet voice that isn't really a voice, but it's just that inner knowing, like that gut instinct thing, that intuition. There's a voice where it's like I physically hear a voice in my head. Sounds sometimes like it's my voice, but oftentimes it's a slightly different accent or a slightly different tone of voice. I notice as well when I'm speaking at my tone differs quite a lot. Not how we think of it ordinarily, but at a deeper kind of resonance level.
And it's smoky voice, I call it sometimes. It's like
it's weird, isn't it? Yeah. It's it very much depends on what it is that I'm doing, what I'm meant to be doing, and kind of where I'm heading, and So I think that for all of us, there's not really maybe one answer. I don't know.
No, I don't think so, because, you know, as I'm asking you that question, I'm asking myself the same thing. Like when I'm in my car, it's a much more excited voice. It's a much more, you know, verbal voice, and I talk out loud and I get answers straight away. And all kinds can't be made because, well, okay, well, of course that came to me. I wasn't even thinking that. But if I'm out in nature and I'm sitting and I talk to a tree, it's very slow. It's very paced. It's very even. And sometimes you can, you know, you get your messages in a song, or you get your messages from, you know, overhearing the conversation, kind of go, oh, is that for me?
Yeah.
So yes, like you say, you know, it's not necessarily always an inner voice, but it's just like you're saying, inner knowing. I mean, I remember I used to do some really dangerous stuff, but I always had this inner knowing God had a bigger purpose for me. So nothing was going to happen, you know, and I was just reckless, kind of reckless with my life, you know, speeding and overtaking and in the fog and my eyes closed, and done some sort of crazy stuff that I don't admit. And I just always knew, well, nothing's going to happen because I'm here for something else. Yeah. Cool.
It's funny that, isn't it? Because I think that's something I've thought a lot about recently, that kind of, I'm here for something, what is it? And I think that question crops up so often and we squash it back down, don't we? Because we're busy trying to, you know, meet the love of our life, get a job, raise children. And there's so much else going on that it you know, it's like it's not always a priority.
Yeah, I'm being asked to ask you, did you lose your intuitive ways when you were busy being a mum, or did it heighten them?
Oh, good question. I think in a weird way it heightened them, but I was in a really kind of bouncy relationship, and there was a lot of energy for a lot of different reasons. And I think because of that, there was just a lot of noise. So it was difficult to kind of get grounded, I think, would probably be the way I would describe it.
Yes, I don't think we sort of pay much attention to what it is that we want and what we want to create when we're in that mother mode, because we're so busy putting out fires and dealing with everything else that's going on. Hence, you know, I was going to say crappy, but different relationships, challenging relationships that are there to show you something as well. And then you've got this little fella or this, you know, other little beings all around you. And you're like, you know, so you lose yourself. But I remember very much moving to France with a 1-month-old, knowing nothing about being a mum or babies. And I think I changed a nappy once in my life before I had my own kids. So I really wasn't that maternal.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh God, how do I do this? And I was like, oh, well, I've got my totem animal. What do I ask her? And I just remember those kind of, you know, evenings breastfeeding in the quiet and all the rest of it, and just being so quiet. And I remember just communicating with my totem animal. Oh, isn't that strange? Because, you know, well, I'm not on my own then, and I can just ask her and she'll guide me. And then all the way along, I've kind of, until when they were older, and I really started to speak and be more demanding, then I think I lost a lot of it. But yeah, motherhood, I think, makes you very intuitive about, oh, that means that, because you have to do things on, you know, flying by the seat of your pants, don't you?
Yeah. It's funny actually, because thinking back in terms of, you know, creating abundance, and I know that's kind of a little bit about what we'll talk about, but I think probably that was my most totally switched on period in time for creating exactly what I wanted. Do you know what I mean? Because we were running a business when I had my little boy, and we were like crazy young. We were still teenagers and built a business. And you think, you know, I think back now, I think, bloody hell, where did that come from? But I think it's because we were both really in tune with a bigger vision. And although we were kind of scattered and didn't really know what we were doing, and we were, you know, raising a family and 2 families really, 1 business and 1 child, I think because we were just so in the flow, although I kind of hate that term, but we were
It's
just,
used a lot, isn't it?
yeah, we were
do you
just.
feel that your child also amplifies it? Because I always have heard that your children will always get what they need. So in other words, they amplify the sort of the financial side of things, or I believe I'm here because this is where my baby who was inside me when I was looking for somewhere to live, chose this place as well. So
Right.
I think that's all soul intervention.
Yeah, very possibly then, because nobody was more surprised to find herself pregnant than me.
Mm.
So, it's kind of, happens for a reason, doesn't it, everything?
Yeah, exactly. Would you say that your soul has intervened, maybe you didn't realize it at the time, could be when you got pregnant, or to do with your business or anything? Like for me, moving countries, like setting up my business in the UK, going traveling for a year, going with flow when I was traveling, probably the most flow I think I've ever had in my life. I just think something, then the next day it would appear. Or I didn't worry about getting into a country and finding somewhere to stay, a bed to sleep on, the money, cash, didn't know anyone. I was so in the flow. So would you say that your soul has intervened, and what would be the biggest thing you think that she's done to intervene in your life to kind of go, not there?
Oh gosh. Well, I mean, crikey. And I'm having a little conversation with myself, clearly. Like, where do we begin? Yeah, well, crikey, which they're all kind of monumental. Yeah. I mean, bloody hell. If anyone was to look at my CV, they would go, yeah, her soul intervenes on a fairly regular basis. Yeah. Because literally, I change direction when people least expect it, but it's absolutely right for me because I just know it. I just know there comes a point in time where I just know, actually, no, this is not the right place. We're done. We're out of here. We're moving on. We're changing. And monumental direction changes, not just, slight little shifts, but, great big changes. So I think I've come to appreciate that the more I've learned about why it's happening, as opposed to thinking, WTF, what on earth is going on? Now I'm like, no, that's okay.
So you're quite happy about letting go then. Do you know, I mean, if you said you had a real key value in your life, I call them soul values, because now I know that my soul value is adventure. I'm just like, I can so see why I change direction so often. I kind of like metamorphose. And I'm like, who was that woman 10 years ago? It wasn't me, not who I am today. So do you know what your key value is in life?
Yeah, it's freedom and adventure.
Yeah.
Kind of the two things that always come up whenever I think about that. In terms of like
freedom, don't do it.
Yeah, and it's not that I feel trapped, it's just that I know that it's not where I'm meant to be. It's a funny feeling. So, when I qualified as a lawyer, I thought I'd spent so long getting there, I thought that's where I'll be forever. I love the law, I love practicing law, I love everything about it. I love reading it, I love finding fixes in the tiniest little line in a case. It totally lights me up, but it was just that kind of getting there and be like, no, this is not it. Mm-hmm. This is not it. And I don't know why. And I still practice law now because I still love it. And there's a part of me that, enjoys the process, and I kind of like to have a foot in that grounded space. But I don't know where I was going with that. Sorry. Because I've lost my train of thought now, but
that's all right.
I was going to talk about other values, because integrity and honesty is a huge thing for me. I like to think that we're all operating honestly. So if somebody's pissed off, then they just say that, and we have a conversation about it. I like things to be very much out in the open. So
yeah, but most of us, these days being empaths and moving forward into this this new realm that we're moving forward into. If somebody's not saying that, if there is a hidden agenda, it just oozes out of the person, even over the internet, over TV or in the news or something, or you walk into a room and you're just like,
you just know, don't you?
Yeah. It's like something's off here. Is it me? Is it something else, someone else? And then, that's the time to sort of go around and kind of go, that's, put your detectors out and kind of realize, actually, it's not me. I shouldn't be dealing with that. It's just something that's exuding from someone else, and I don't need to take it on board.
That's a really good point, that about taking it on board. And I think that's something that a lot more work probably has to be done for a lot of people, that they internalize somebody else's issue and problem. And I think one of the best skills I ever really realized I had was that if I meet somebody and I have even the slightest little niggle, it's like, no, trust your gut, absolutely trust that, because it just doesn't let you down. Don't second guess it, just go with your gut straight away.
I've fallen flat on my face a couple of times for not doing that, but then at the same time I've been able to sort of detect even someone before they came. I used a story about this guy in Australia who, wanted to come and be a help-ex. In other words, he was painting the studio that I painted as a single mum, and then he wanted to come and stay. He offered his services so that he could travel around Europe, and he'd use my place for the base, but during the day he painted. I was like, I don't know if I can, let a young man into my house and I'm going to feed him with board and lodging. How do I feel about that? Well, hang on a second. Well, why don't I just feel into him? What would it feel like with him next to me? And nothing changed in my body. I was like, maybe I've got this wrong then. So I think, okay, well, I'll just check with someone that I do know. So I checked into an ex of mine. Oh, well, that's how he feels. Right, come back. Check again with this young guy called Sam. Nothing changed. Double check with another ex of mine. I was like, that's his energy. Double check, but nothing changed. So I don't need to change. Am I going to mistake? Yeah. So I invited him. I'll tell you what. Nice, this guy. He should do like a finishing school for young guys or something.
Right.
And it was just such a delight to be with. But yes, you can sense other people. I mean, you can sense them through the internet. You can sense them in the car next to you. Your body is always on alert.
Yeah.
And this is what I've done for years with women losing with weight, and now I'm doing it with business as well. Like, you can sense the people that affect you, that trigger you to overeat, or you can feel the soul of your clients who are looking for you, and you can sort of place yourself where you can just be the shining light that they're looking for. Like, it's a completely different way of doing business, like just sensing where and how that works is completely different. Sort of forcing yourself out there and marketing yourself all the time.
Yeah.
What would you say your biggest sticking point, do you think, with all of this doing?
Go on, explain sticking point to me.
Explain. Where you get yourself tied up in knots, where you said it earlier, you fall back into, I should be. So, for example,
what's my sticking point? Okay, my biggest sticking point. Oh gosh, yeah, right. I think it's because I love to work. Okay, so I'm very feminine, but I'm so masculine, and I am really driven, and I absolutely love to work. So at the weekend, I was working on a legal thing, and I was still writing it at 2:00 in the morning because I was enjoying the process and I wanted to do it. And when I sent it off anyway, I had a chat with the guy I'd done it for today, and he was like, "Why were you up writing it? I didn't need it that quickly." And I was like, no, I was wide awake, and actually I was so excited about doing it. I just went and did it. It just, and at least then it meant I didn't have to do it on Saturday. He was like, "You didn't have to do it on Saturday either. We were going to do it on Monday." I was like, "Yeah, I know, but
It's done now.
So yeah, it's done now, and I was really. It's one of the best bits of work I've done in ages. I do good legal work, but I just love drafting contracts and agreements. I'm a bit sad.
So that's not really
anyhow.
so much
So yes, that's my thing.
Hearing
it is a sticking point
overwork.
because I'll overwork. Yeah. I won't stop. I won't realise I'm hungry. I won't realise that it's gone dark. I won't realise, I'll be so engrossed in what I'm doing. So that's a bit of a sticking point because, you do have to take care of you, of your.
Right, so your sticking point then is you really probably don't put yourself first all of the time when it comes to...
I totally put myself first all the time. I'm like, I love myself very much, but I love what I'm doing. So I'll just keep doing it, and then I'll look up and I'll be like, oh God, all right, I'll cook now. And what I think might be more helpful would be, I don't know, would it be more helpful? I don't know. I enjoy it. It's only later on when when I realise it's like 7 o'clock and I've not eaten.
But isn't that just going into the zone? And the feeling of it for me when I tune into you saying that, it's just like, it's exciting, it's getting done. Don't break my zone, because then it's done. If I have to go back to it, it'll take 10 years to edit it. So let's just get it all downloaded and done now.
No, it's weird. It's not, because you're right when you say about the zone, because when I'm in the zone, I just know that I can complete something, and it's about that completion maybe. And is it a sticking point? Might not even be a sticking point. No. It might be just that's how I work.
Yeah, and that's how it works for you, and that's brilliant. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you say that you're really good at looking after yourself, but at the same breath, you're kind of saying, yeah, but I don't stop to eat. But it's not that important. If that's your zone, if that's your meditation place, if that's your channeling place, let's call it that, of course, nobody wants to eat or break off from that, do they? I mean, there was something I was doing the other day, teaching about the pineal gland and how that kind of, it's just so amazing, like the inner visions and all that kind of stuff. And now I can't remember where I was going to go with that, but as your mind is going, that was an idea, that's gone.
It's just like a million visions and stuff coming in as we're talking. It's actually hard to keep up, isn't it? Don't you think?
Yeah, it goes really, really fast. But anyway, to do with this, I'm going to try and keep on track. To do with the pineal gland itself is, that's gone again. It is that zone play. I know what I was asked to say. It's about the chemical that's released when you're in that zone, because it's the pineal gland that releases, I think it's called DMT, and they call it the spirit molecule, the spirit chemical. Ooh. And that when you're high, like when you've been, maybe when
no, because I've never taken drugs, but I'm guessing it's maybe like when you've had wine.
Like when I come out of my office, if I've been in other realms, if I've been attuning someone or just having a great conversation and you're on it, you just keep getting intuitive hits, that's when this is working. And you come down and you kind of go into the kitchen and everybody's like making a noise and you're like, you just zoned out. And they say, are you there? What's going on? I said, you know what? I need to go outside.
Just catch my breath a minute.
You're flooded. You're flooded. So in the zone, that's what we're coming back to. In the zone is just when you're just on it. You're just in a different realm and things are working out so well for you. And often when we're in those places, we don't really want to come back until whatever was done is done.
It's done, yeah. That's a great point. I'm going to go read up on that now.
Do read up on that. And there was something in there as well about all the ways to, because I'm a detox diva. That was one of the things that my soul intervened with, like, okay, do detox, do this and help with it. And I created the home detox box when I was pregnant. It started having people in my home to do detoxes and things in France when my kids were just 1 and 2 years old. But it's all about decalcifying the pineal gland. And I'm thinking, I wonder if that's why I was, taking down that route, because it gives you the inner vision. It's your third eye. It's what we talked about before, about taking you into the realms of the dragons and the mysterious and the magical. Yeah. You see things, but you don't just kind of go, yeah, well, whatever. It's just like, whoa, that's real. It's like when you can see auras and when you can see beyond the physical realm and what you touch and feel. So this is about the inner gland and the pituitary gland and hypothalamus, which is like you're getting into the God zone. You are connected.
Right.
So anyway, we were talking a little bit before a couple of weeks ago about our experiences with phenomenon, and this is what I think has promoted that in me as well, to sort of be talking about the soul, to be talking about intuition, to be talking about how it creates your life very, very differently when you allow your soul in to assist you. And of course, the generations that are coming on now, it's almost like we've been reprogrammed. So we've done the 100 years or so, or 1,000 years, not being soul connected. And now we're going into the phase, and our kids are coming through this phase now, that they are coming in and they are connected to their soul, a bit like we were lifetimes ago as witches and Egyptians and all the rest of it. We had that insight. So this is the new realm. This is where we are being assisted, and this is where we are learning that when we want something to happen, we get to create that. Would you say that you have noticed anything anytime in your life that you've created, like, I want that, and you've gone ahead and you've created it?
Gosh, all the time.
You
just know. Yeah, you just know. Yeah. It's just
falls into place.
Yeah. It's like I've got a crystal skull on my desk, and I mean, this was years ago, but when you just know, and it was a free giveaway on a Facebook website, a Facebook group or something, or a Facebook page. And she was like, "Oh, I'm giving away this," and I just knew the minute I looked at it, I'm going to win that. It's going to be mine.
Yeah.
And I've never looked at skulls ever, although I absolutely love crystals. I've lots of them. Crystal skulls never really kind of did it for me, but I looked at it and I was like, "Oh my God, that's meant for me."
Yeah.
And here she is, sat with her. Yeah. And it's little things like that, isn't it? It's not always the big things.
No, it is little things, isn't it? I mean, I remember as a single mum, I wasn't able to run my retreats anymore because I was the only carer for these two little boys. I was like, well, I can't leave the home for a week to go and run a retreat, so I'm gonna do things online from now on. And I was watching this woman, and she was running a competition. I thought, I'm gonna win it, and I won it. I won a year's free coaching, and I was like, well, that was just meant to be. And so many things like that. But I have set my mind on creating certain things. In other words, playing to see what I can create, and that's blown my mind away. But like we said at the beginning, this has to be seen as normal.
Yeah, definitely.
It has to be seen as normal. If you were to go back and talk to, what would you say, your younger self, your teenage self, early teens, what piece of advice would you say that you'd like to share with her?
I think for me, it's probably about, you spoke earlier about your light, just shining your light. And I think it would be that, because there was a period after my teenage years, so my early 20s, when I kind of dimmed my light, because you don't quite fit in, you're not sure why you don't fit in, so you get a little bit smaller, a little bit quieter, a little bit more like an observer than an active participant. So yeah, it would be, don't effing bother dimming your light, just keep going.
Yeah. So would you say then, what I'm hearing there is, one of the phrases you use that I can resonate with, and so many others, like, you feel different, you feel you don't fit in, you feel there's something, I'm not getting this. Yeah,
absolutely, 100%. Right from the very first moment I remember having consciousness, just knowing I don't fit in. I'm not like everybody else.
Was that because you didn't feel similar resonance with your family then, or you didn't have those kind of conversations that would today rock your boat?
I think it's And my mum's really very spiritual, so I can't, and you know, like I remember my granny being spiritual. It wasn't that, it was that I'm not normal in some way, like I'm different, but I can't quite put my finger on it. There's something I'm meant to do. I need to find it. I need to find it quick. You know, chop, chop.
Chop, chop, busy, busy.
Time's running out. that kind of like that impatient. This is not where I'm meant to be. I'm meant to be doing something. It doesn't matter that I'm only, you know, very tiny and 6 or very tiny and 3, or, you know, that get out of my way. I'm a big person in a tiny body. I have something to do. It was just, yeah, and that kind of like, I struggled to make friends. It was terrible.
Then that you accepted that you were this big thing in a tiny body.
I think I've always felt it. I mean, my mum's told me stories about when I was a kid, and how she would, you know, like she talks about this one time when she'd heard me talking to somebody. She was so convinced of somebody in the house, and I think I was only probably 2 or 3. She bundles me and my sister and brother into our clothes, whatever, and whips us off and doesn't go back to the house until my dad comes home. Okay. Somebody in the house, you need to go and check it because Jane's been talking to somebody. And that kind of, you know, that was a constant thing. And it's only, you know, when my dad's checked the house, there definitely isn't anybody in the house. But always knowing whenever I have memories of my childhood, I'm not me in a tiny child's body.
You're already
yeah, it's the strangest thing. Yeah. And I think that's probably why I didn't find it easy to make friends with children.
Yeah.
So I never really had close friends.
I always wanted a best friend, but they were just always a little bit silly. And I was always kind of felt older than my years. Like, you know, like,
yeah.
Oh, no, I don't get that.
Yeah. They were mean. Kids are mean, aren't they, to other kids who were not like them? Kids are really cruel.
You don't fit in. You don't, you know, do the things that
Yeah.
So where's your spiritual journey taking you now then? Where are you being asked to focus yourself? Help assist.
Well, now it's talking about the conversations I've been having with the 6th dimension. And I mean, I have spent years and years Googling 6th dimension of Trion and getting nowhere. And then I just was having a conversation with someone, I think around about maybe November, December last year. And first time ever I've mentioned it to somebody. And she was like, she nearly fell off a chair. What? Oh my God. I know exactly what that is. I was like, really? I'm not imagining it then, you know. So she kind of gave me a lot of information, and then I thought about it a little bit, and then maybe around about February, March this year, I thought, no, it's time to talk about it. It's not a message. It's not about spreading a message. It's weird. It's just about being available for it and to discuss it openly and, you know, in social media so that the people who need the information can find it. Because I've been talking to them for years, and just, I thought at one point maybe they were spirit guides, although I knew they kind of weren't. I thought, well, maybe they're angels. No, they're not angels. And just always looking, thinking, well, somebody else must know something. I can't be the only person on the planet that is having this experience. And I was searching for the wrong thing. I was searching for 6th dimension of Trion. And, you know, she was like, no, it's the council. I was like, yeah, I said that they're called the council of the 6th dimension of Trion. She was like, yeah, everybody's heard of them. I was like, really?
But only in that realm.
Yeah. Because it's weird. It's like, I literally I'd never seen any social posts from anybody. I'd never seen any other spiritual leaders or healers or teachers talk about it. It was like it had completely passed me by. And now everybody around me it's coming up in all sorts of conversations and social posts. And I think, yeah, probably because, you know, the timing wasn't right. I wasn't meant to speak out about it until now.
I think there are so many people, Jane, who have experiences. Of course, that's the time that we're in now as well. You know, and I hear so many people kind of say, I don't tell anyone else what I'm telling you. And I'm like,
yeah,
I didn't ask you to tell me, but I mean, I'm just talking about what I know or what I've experienced, or, you know, having three witches in my bedroom when I was little and sleeping under the covers to, you know, seeing an eye of a dragon kind of here, and then meeting the dragon later on in channeling and things I was doing, and then them having conversations with me, like, well, what do you want me to share? It's the evolution of the population. It's all about being soul assisted, keeping on communicating with your soul, and you're overthinking things. It's so much easier. You know, if you keep overthinking things, then nobody can assist you because we can't get through the noise. You know, you've just been educated out of all your natural ability. So I'm just saying that it's normal, and I think there's so many people who have had this kind of phenomenon, but they haven't really talked about it. You know, from having things appear in their bedroom, having things, you know, extraterrestrial, you know, information, or just feel that there's something different about me, and nobody really gets it, but I can do things. So I think one of the reasons I wanted to talk to you, Jane, was because of that. Was because of, you know, the experience that you had, and the fact that you're now open to being able to talk about it. Hopefully, you're finding more places that you can sort of spread that. And of course, as we open up to that, so more people and more situations open up to us as well, and allow that to come through. And hopefully, that we just make that normal. The new normal. It is normal. And I think it's quite sad, really, if anybody else hasn't had those kind of connections or experiences. Or they feel that they can't talk about them because the people around them don't understand.
Yeah, because it's a lot to get your head around, isn't it? I think if you've had a lifetime of, you know, some kind of spirituality, so you know, both my mum and my granny kind of, you know, they're both, my mum's still here, my granny's not, but they're, you know, they're psychic, they're seeing things, they're getting intuitive hits, they're talking about the dreams they're having that are coming true. So I'm looking in that I grew up in an environment where that was normal and accepted and talked about. But even that, I didn't really say anything. And oddly enough, actually, when I mentioned it to my mum years after it had started to happen, she was like, "Oh, about time. They've been coming and talking to me for ages, telling me that they're trying to kind of like get through, and you're not responding." I'm like, "Well, kind of responding, but not, you know, do you know what I mean?" So but I think for people who don't have anybody that supports them in that, and maybe they come from, you know, a family that has deeply held religious views, so they're having to overcome that. I think for them it's very difficult, you know, and I think there's even bigger onus on people like us to speak openly, so that there's more information, and so that, you know, we can help more people. I don't know, I'm getting a little bit like we're not that, I'm getting am I talking rubbish now? So we can help more people? No, basically the information needs to be there, because it's not great spending hours and hours searching for something, not knowing whether or not you imagine it. You know, sometimes you just need a little bit of reassurance, and if what we're saying today can help even one person to understand or feel better, then that's a job well done, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Do you have a knowing or a vision for the future, how things pan out, how things change, how things are going to be?
I didn't think I did until just then, when I got a picture. It's a massive amount of expansion, and weirdly enough, it's almost like it's dark, but it's not, because it's only in the darkness that physical form can be created. So I feel the image I'm seeing is that everybody at some point in this distant image just knows and understands that they're energy, knows and understands that everything else is energy, and knows and understands that they're creators in their own right, weirdly enough. So yeah, that's kind of the weird picture I got in my head.
Well, it's funny because I get images and things as well. I just absolutely certainly know that this physical form will not be the physical form that the next few generations will be hanging on to. I mean, we'll look different, we'll feel different, we'll act different.
Yeah. And it's funny, isn't it? Because you've got to put what you see into language that's appropriate for where we're currently at. And it's like, how the heck do I describe that? I have no idea. I could probably paint it.
Yeah, well, exactly. That's why you have those groups of painters.
Yeah.
Like do those kind of imagery. I'm just seeing if there's any other questions and things that are relevant today. So that we're just going to make sure that this gets out there and that people know that these kind of conversations are normal. So you believe in magic then?
Absolutely, yeah. Totally, 100%.
How do you, I won't say use magic, it's not the right word, but how do you amplify magic in your life then? Let's put it that way.
How do I amplify it? I don't know whether I amplify it. I think I am with it. It's like
you are it.
Yeah, it is it, yeah. So, you know, whether I'm stirring a cup of tea, baking a cake, coaching a client, writing a contract, whatever it is, there's just magic there.
So would you say that's when you're in the flow? That's when like everything's glitter. You know, what is it?
Yeah, I think when am I not aware of the magic then? So that would be, or like sometimes, so you know, you wake up and you think, I'm not quite sure, but I think I'm having a bad day. And you just feel different. You're like, and you have to make that choice. Do you allow yourself to keep feeling that even though there's no logical reason for it? Or do you actually go, right, okay, I just need to have a shower and kind of zhuzh up my energy again and remember what I actually want to feel like. Yeah. It's about being the creator of your own environment, isn't it? And this environment that I'm in. So, yeah, somebody bumps into my car, an external event can trip me up, or it can't trip me up. It's all down to me, isn't it? So
that's just you being aware and conscious of what's going on in external form.
Yeah, and it's not always easy. I mean, crikey, we're human, aren't we? It's not always easy to get out of that really bad mood or that sadness or whatever other emotional you've got going on.
Would you say that sometimes if you are in that funk, as I call it, then it's just something rising to the surface and needing to be let go of? How would you view it? Yeah,
I'd agree with that actually, yeah, because it's almost like throwing up, isn't it? The minute you throw up, you just feel better. And that's kind of what it is, yeah. Like once I've got it out, then I'm good to go.
You understand what it's about? Do you want to get to what it is, or you just let it run through you?
Sometimes I'm just happy to let it go. It's like it is what it is, and then other times I might get a little bit like, where's this coming from? And I think that's only helpful insofar as, because I'm not one for like, you know, where did that come from? Let's look at the past. It's, you know, for me, it's not about that. There's no point digging in that. It is what it is. We just need to make sure we're not repeating patterns. But, you know, it might be like, I've felt this a couple of times recently. What is it that I'm missing? What haven't I picked up on? And that kind of, you know, is a good frame of inquiry, I think.
Yeah. Keeping it fresh, just being aware of what's coming up. I know that when I first started on this journey, the sort of understanding being energy, being soul, I had to come from a completely different frame of mind, and it wasn't my upbringing, it wasn't to do with my family or anything. It was just this other girl and I were talking, and she was kind of getting these really, you know, visceral responses, and I was just like, what's going on? And it was for me, I could ask her anything and I'd get a yes or no. And so basically I thought, well, I can do that too. So I've been teaching myself how my body responds, how I know then that if I unzip myself, I'm soul, you know, like on the inside of me is soul, and this is just the environment that I've chosen to be in or that I'm creating. So it's been a very long and beautiful journey, and it will never end as long as I'm on this planet. Yeah, absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Living exciting times.
Touching in today.
You're welcome. Thank you for asking.
Because it's just, maybe we can do it again some other time when other things come up, but it's just making it normal.
Yeah, making it normal.
We know that we are energy, we are soul, we're here for a reason, we've always known it. All those kind of feelings that we go through, you know, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and allowing those to just pass through. You know, as human beings, I've been shown you by the dragon, it's like, oh, there's a feeling, let's just hold on to it, let's hold on to it. And this is why the body is formed the way it is, because we're holding on to so much. Whereas if you just like come in, oh, that's you, okay, fine. And then let something else come in. Because as we hold on to that, there's no room for anything else to come in.
Yeah.
No more experiences. So, okay, thank you very much.
It's been great. Thank you very much. I'm conscious of the fact that I keep turning away, but it's because I've got a really great swivelly chair, and I'm not very good at looking at the camera.
Swivelly chair. There's no right and wrong with a swivelly chair.
No.
Profiles that you have.
Yeah.
Keep it moving, keep it playful. That's what I want to say.
Yeah, I would have been terrible on parquet, because I wouldn't have been able to sit on that sofa. I'd have had to have had a swivelly chair.
Where they should start doing those kind of interviews, really, with everybody has swivelly chairs and they can just So have a great rest of your day, and
you too. Thank you.
I shall see you on the group that we keep going, which is Practical Magic. Basically, living soul assisted with life, our business and relationships and everything else. So thank you very much again. Have a great day.
Thank you. You too. Take care. Bye.